Well, this morning we're checking in with one of Canada's finest country singers.
We're all just moving at the speed of light. No fast forward and no rewind. Can't slow down the hands of time. We're all just moving at the speed of life, the speed of life.
That, of course, is the voice of George Canyon, who has won 2 Junos, 7 Canadian Country Music Awards for his work. He has been a pastor, a pilot, a politician, and he's gone from Nova Scotia to Nashville and back to Canada, where he's currently running a working ranch with his family and writing both music and a memoir. George Canyon joins us this morning. Welcome to Your Morning.
How you
George,
doing?
good morning.
Morning. How are things?
Things are good here. I imagine that you've already been up and working already. Congrats on the memoir.
Thank you. It's a little weird to walk into a bookstore and see my face on a book. It kind of freaked me out the first time I did it a couple weeks ago.
Well, let's talk more about the book. It is called My Country. We just got a shot of the cover. I was curious about the horse on that cover. What can you tell us about that animal?
That was one of our horses on our original place that was west of High River in southern Alberta. And he was actually a pretty cool horse. We didn't own that particular horse. For some reason, I think my daughter was riding that morning, and the photographer came out to the ranch, and she said, "Could we borrow your daughter's horse?" And I just giggled because my horse was out in the field eating, probably usually what he did back then, my first horse. And that horse just stepped into the frame, and I guess the shot happened.
Listen, you didn't start out wanting to be a musician. I find this fascinating, given all the success you've had. You had a lifelong goal to fly a plane, and in this book, you share about being told you would never be able to do that because you're diabetic. You ended up not only getting involved with Transport Canada, lobbying the federal government, and then you go on to get your full license, but you became the first ever Colonel Commandant of the Royal Canadian Air Cadets. How did that happen? There you are with Peter MacKay.
That happened by the grace of God, is how that all happened. There's no way. Most of my life, I kind of gave up setting goals and things because the places I've got to go and the things I've got to do, my faith tells me I'll come from Him. And I never saw that one coming. I spent 4 years as an honorary colonel with CFB Greenwood, which is where I actually attended Air Cadet Camp, because I was an Air Cadet as a kid until I got type 1 diabetes, and they told me I'd never fly or be in the Air Force. So for it to come full circle, it definitely wasn't a coincidence. It was, to me, it was a miracle.
Just one of many miracles in your life that you write about. And I loved reading about your creative process in your music. You share that with a very special song of yours, My Name. It remains your highest charting single. It went #1 here in Canada. Could you share with us the story behind that song?
It's really, it's one of those songs. I've had a few in my career, but I'm very lucky to have that happen, where I sat down with a buddy to write, Gordie Sampson, who's originally born and raised in Cape Breton, back in Nova Scotia. We actually were writing in Nashville at this little house, and I got to tell you, it was a stormy night, lightning, thunder, everything was going on, and I started playing that lick, and I said I'd like to write this song, and told Gordie kind of what I was thinking, and literally within probably 6 minutes,
wow,
there it was. Yeah, and Gordie kept looking at me saying, radio's never going to play this.
Once again, defying all the odds, defying the naysayers. Just incredible, George. Listen, you're now in a position where you can offer advice to other artists. They're eager to learn what you have to say. And the top piece of advice you give to newer artists is enjoy as much family time as you possibly can. And number 2, you don't need to move from Canada to Nashville in order to have a successful career. I think that was come as a surprise to a lot of people.
Well, I was told you had to. When I started in 1989-90, I was told the only way I could get that record deal, that was the big thing, the record deal, was to move to Nashville. And so in my mind, I thought that, and that's what I was working towards all those years, playing bars. And then what I quickly realized is you don't. Like, you have to tour a lot harder in Canada because it's such a big country, and it's not like down in the States where you could stay in Texas for 2 years and just keep touring. But it's so worth it, to get to live in what I feel is the greatest country of the world. I'm 1,000,000% Canadian, born here, raised my kids here, and it's where I'll die. And in fact, I told my wife where to put me when we're all done.
And where is
I know
that?
exactly, out in the West Quarter, right beside the Hoodoo. I said, that's where I want you to spread my ashes when all's said and done. However much time, I'm hoping that's a long time from now.
For anybody in the rest of the country. Yeah, for anyone in the rest of the country who doesn't know what a hoodoo is actually like a land formation. It's not like a name for something else. Anyway,
no, it's a big rock. It's a huge, huge rock, and it's very special with the indigenous people that used to live here, like we're talking thousands of years ago when they're hunting buffalo. Those hoodoos were a vital part.
George Cannon, thank you so much for coming on today. Great to hear your story. It's called My Country.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.